Good day everybody, thank you for joining me here at Friendship Shaving on a lovely summer's day in the UK today. I've got a British razor to show you today, made in England, a razor that is very sought after by collectors. I saw one quite recently on eBay. It was new old stock. It was in amazing condition. Beautiful, came in a beautiful little case. All the painting was immaculate on the case. It had the instruction set, all the little price tags. It looked like it had just come out of the factory yesterday. I put in my best bid and it went for about £640. So needless to say, that razor is not the one I'll be shaving with today. The Eclipse Red Ring that I have has been loaned to me by my friend Malcolm and is one of his collection. I'm very pleased to have this in the den. Now I wanted to use a quintessential British soap to go with such a British razor. Here it is, the Boots Shave Stick. I love this product, I'm not joking. Don't you bag my boots. It's a great scent, it's easy to use and it's a real good quality soap I feel. So we'll be using that today. Now I'm drying up, it's so warm, so let me put a little bit of pre-shave on my face and then I will show you the razor. I'm using the cube as usual, and I suspect I'll be using that for a long time. It's certainly a good value product, the cube. Now the razor is terrific. It's really terrific. Let me just pull it apart for you because it's unusual. It has a retaining ring here, so it is a real true two-piece razor. What's unusual about it is that the studs are sat on the guard plate, much like the Gillette Goodwill. I have to think for a moment there. And you can see that, like the Goodwill, there are holes in the head cap. What that means is it's very easy to drop a blade on and put the cap on. Now you can see from this that this was a very early attempt to sort of blend together the sort of open comb with a closed bar. And I have to say it works very well. It's a good razor to shave with. It is quite an aggressive razor. There we are, and we'll just pop that on there like that, using a feather razor today on its second use, and you can see that that goes together very easily indeed. I have seen razors in better condition than this. The head cap is beautiful. Normally on these studs, that's where brassing starts to occur. The handle is not so good on this one, but you can see, perhaps in the light, it has Eclipse there, and on the other side it has a red ring. There's a little heart here, and the bottom point of the heart lines up with these vertical lines on the Micrometer Adjuster, so I can adjust the shave to my liking. Now, Do you know, this cube is so good, almost you could use that. But here we go, I'm going to get going with my Boots shaving stick. I've been using this all week, to be honest, and I find it to be a really nice slick soap. It's not a strong scent at all, but for the price you pay, and I don't use it very often, but it's good value. And when I do pull it off my shelf, I always really enjoy using it. Now I can't actually see how much I'm putting on because of the pre-shave, but I think that will be enough. I'm using the Macy again today, the friendship shaving brush. I'm using the Manchurian Badger version today, and I've just had that soaking. In a glass of water. So while I lather my face up, I'll try and tell you a little bit about the company that produced this razor. Actually, I'll wait to do that. Let me just do this first. Add a drop more water to that. This Manchurian Badger brush was a real smelly one when it came. I was so eager to use it. I just gave it a quick rinse and lathered up straight away. I was nearly sick, honestly. It was bad. But it soon washed out. And as you can see, it's working very well. Sometimes you get a brush like that, don't you, and of course you don't get that with a synthetic brush. That is one of the real advantages of a synthetic brush. And there are many. I'm coming to like them more and more and more. There we are, I think that will do. Certainly got plenty of soap in the brush. I obviously had enough shaving soap on my face. Now, while I'm doing my first pass, I'll give you a little bit of history about the razor itself. It was made by James Neal and Company, Composite Steelworks, out of Sheffield, England. It's interesting because James Neal was actually an accountant and for some reason took over a steelworks and then developed composite steel. It seems an incredible thing to me. They predominantly made tools, and in fact there was an association with Spear and Jackson, and the James Neal company became part of Spear and Jackson toolmakers in the long run. So they are still going today. In 1911, they started to use and trademarked the word Eclipse. Now, one of the things that the factory was renowned for making were magnets, and there is one in the bottom of the razor, so you can pick up a razor blade, and I kind of like that, you know, I do really like that. But the other thing that they were renowned for making were hacksaw blades. And I suppose from a layman's point of view, that doesn't seem much of a stretch from making a hacksaw blade, which is a thin ribbon of steel, and sharpening it, to making a razor blade. And that is what they did. The Eclipse razor blade was made to try and compete with Gillette. And in fact, it is the razor blades that would have been the last product that James Neal saw produced. Excuse me, just a moment. Beg your pardon. He died rather suddenly, aged 72, in 1930. And I believe it would have been his son Fred that oversaw the production of the Eclipse Red Ring razor. I'm finding it to be very easy to use, very smooth, if I get the angle just right, it's not even like there's a razor blade in it. It seems to just glide over the skin. But at the same time, as being that comfortable, I'm really getting a close shave. And certainly I've used it a couple of times this week, and after the shave you do think, wow, that's close. So it's a strange razor in that respect. Now they marketed this Micrometer Adjustment, and when you unscrew it, it lifts the cap, so you get a bit bigger blade gap. There we are, I've opened that quite dramatically there. Now let let me tighten that back down, because there's next to no blade gap there, but let me tell you, I have tried it. I've tried it, and there's no way I'm shaving with that open like that again. It's really good just as it is, fully tightened down for me. But for gentlemen with really coarse hair and tough skin, maybe that was the way to go. They certainly marketed that on the old advertisements. It's very difficult to verify any information about this razor. There are advertisements out there. They are typically from Punch magazine, a British magazine. The ones I've seen are all from the 1930s. But I've heard and read people's opinion that the razor was made through until 1950, 1930 to 1950. But I really can't verify that. I do know that during the First World War and the Second World War, the factory was turned over for the war effort, or certainly parts of the factory were. And in the Second World War, the razor department was flattened and gutted by a German incendiary bomb. So perhaps it is for that reason that there aren't any advertisements for the razor around for certainly the period of the war, and after the war, of course, that department would have had to have been rebuilt. So, and it must have been shortly after that time that they turned their production over just to tools. So, it is quite a rare razor. There are a number available. This one is a later version, and I know that because the earlier versions have an Art Deco style pattern etched into the top of the head cap. It is, let me try and explain this. Let me use my cube. It's a dark square, and behind it there is a light square with sun rays coming off the light square. There we are. Now, I have read that that was an interpretation of a sunrise, an eclipse. A sunrise. Where did that come from? The sun's rays, obviously, being eclipsed by the darker moon. But also, there's a practical reason for that, and I've looked online at their instruction leaflet, because it seems that whereas I alternately turn the razor and use each side of the blade many times during my shave, it seems that the diagram was to show which side of the blade you used first, and I think the idea was that you used one side of the razor first, and when that was completely blunt you turned it over and used the other side. Now, I've had 3 days growth on today. It's ploughed through it. It's ploughed through it, and using it now, it's so light and easy, it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything at all. but I have got a very, very light hand with this razor. And I can feel it's just taking off a bit of hair there. Do you know, I'm glad to be able to use this razor because when I first started shaving with a double-edged safety razor, I managed to get an Eclipse Red Ring razor. Now I seem to remember that it had much more of, I don't know how to put it, the comb on it seemed to be much higher than that. That's how I remember it anyway. But I did not enjoy that razor, and I know it was just down to my technique. I mean, it was one of the very first razors I got because I read about them. And I read people talking about them and how great they were, and one just came up on eBay. And I thought I'd buy that because it was a good price. I tell you, I just did not like it at all. It made me sore. But then pretty much back then, and it was really when I first started, pretty much every razor made me sore for a little while there. So very quickly I got rid of it. So when Mel said, would you like to shave with the Eclipse Red Ring? I said, oh yeah, please. You know, it's good to go back and visit it. I'll be honest, it's a little aggressive for me. It's that odd combination. It feels so smooth. Now I've only gone 2 passes with the grain, but I can feel my neck. You know, I've got to be careful on this one. I don't mind an aggressive razor, I really don't, but it's not something that I can use every day. See, this is where it catches you because it feels like it's not doing anything. Well, that's how it feels to me anyway. But you can hear that it's working really well. Okay, I know I've got a feather blade in there as well. There we are now. That is a close shave. You know, I'm at that stage in my life, I think, where I'm starting to prefer more comfortable razors. Oh my God. I mean, that is an incredible shave. Oh, it really is. God, there's just nothing there. Fantastic, really fantastic. I've got no cuts. The soreness I've got, it's not really sore, you know, it'll go away in half an hour. Now I'm just going to drain the sink because I've filled it up a little bit and I want to run some cold water, so excuse me just a moment. Excuse me. I've got a new aftershave to try today. I'm going to try Felce Aromatica by Saponificio Veracino. So I'll be using that in just a moment. Never used it before. Excuse me. Oh, there we go. Do you know, I'll be perfectly honest, I know it's always nice when you get a really nice vintage razor, and but honestly I don't know why these go for such a good amount of money. There are lots of Gillettes I prefer instead that you could buy for that much money. Now, let's try this. As I say, I've never used this. This has got calendula in it, which is nourishing and calming on the skin. It's got chamomile, which is an antiseptic and also soothes and refreshes. It has eucalyptus, again antiseptic qualities, and it's a balsamic. It's got lavender, which is more antiseptic properties. And lavender smells nice. And it's got vitamin E, which has antibiotic properties, and is an emollient. So, there we go. Oh, that smells quite nice. I wonder how this will settle down. Oh, it feels nice. Wow. Okay, there's alcohol in it. Which has just caught my breath. It's gone a little bit sticky on my face, so that'll dry off. That's very nice indeed, actually. I can't really tell you what it smells of initially. Just very nice. So we'll see how that settles in. It's the first time that I've used a Saponificio Veracino product, and I've got the Mana de Sicilia to try. I have the 70th anniversary special and the Dolomiti. So I've not used any of these products before, so it'd be very interesting to see how they go. That's beginning to smell really nice. It's not smelling like an obvious fern. Perhaps as I'm new to this, you might write in the comments what you what you think of the Felce Aromatica, and tell me what you think it smells of. It's pleasant, it's very pleasant indeed. Now, that's my shave for today. I hope you enjoyed it. The Eclipse Red Ring. Wonderful razor. Not sure it's worth the money, but it was absolutely fantastic to shave with it. So until I see you again, you all take care. Be well. Ta-da now.